Reservation Dogs, Season 2, Episode 5, Wide Net. When I tell you guys I had an absolute party with this episode, I can't remember, having this much fun with 30 minutes of television before. Tell me, you guys, if you've ever watched a show and had this much fun. So I go from spiritual resonance and crying last week and the week before to crying laughing this week. There were so many examples of just amazing humor, relatable humor, and it just felt like going on a vacation with our friends. The aunties are going to an IHS conference, and it is a wet and wild weekend. When I tell you guys I am going to Google the closest IHS conference to me, and I may have to sneak in, they made it and painted it to be such a good time. One of the girls says, these IHS conferences are like Cancun for, natives. They go to Cancun, we go to conferences. And they had such a blast. Backing up, she's saying goodbye to Bear, and I believed Bear. He's making these dramatic yawns, and I'm just going to rest these old bones, he says, and kind of kick back since he's been a working man. And Rita says, you know what, you deserve it. You've earned it. So funny, some scenes later, what the reality was. But, she's taking off. It's an auntie's weekend, and we're going to the conference. Really quickly, they walk into the expo, area where there are vendors and all kinds of displays of culture. And one of the first vendors they run into are the crystal dildos. And the vendor says, these are for spiritually transmitted diseases. And I cracked up. Then one of the girls, they're walking down the hall, and they're seeing these hot guys left and right. Their hormones are just, going. One of the girls says, eyes down, ladies. Seminoles can impregnate a woman with a single stare. And then they put their eyes down and shoot over to the right. I could not stop laughing. What did you guys think? Was this episode hilarious or what? Rita finds a guy. He's one of the speakers at the conference. He's standing there. He's well-spoken. He seems connected and, really seems like a man. And she's just swooning. And her girls quickly, become her wingmen. They go poolside, and that looks like a blast. Drinks by the pool, lounging in good weather. And here comes Sam. He's looking for a spot. And so Teeny says, hey, Sam, come over and sit by us. And it embarrasses Rita, but it got them talking. And they really made a connection, to the point where she rode the elevator up with him and they continued talking. There was kind of a poignant conversation where she talks about some of her regrets, and not leaving the reservation. And it's interesting, how bitter she was at Rita, at Teeny a little bit later on about some of the things that she had done. But she talked about how she wished that she had gotten to NYC and to smoke some cigarettes on a fire escape. That gritty New York lifestyle that you see in movies. It's so interesting that her children have the vision to go to Hollywood, and her fantasy is to go to New York City and live that gritty city lifestyle. That these cities are fantasy places and faraway places. But this guy is so connected. He says, oh yeah, I'll take you to one of my spots there. Oh yeah, I've been to Arizona. You should come out and see it. Yeah, come to one of my pizza spots in NYC. I'd love to take you. She's swooning because it's connecting so many dots for her. But, she could also be hyped up because this weekend is super hot. So we jump from, a poignant conversation to biscuits steaming. I could not stop laughing about the biscuits steaming. They're wishing for good men. They're wishing for good lays this weekend, good drinks. Let's party. Let's have a good time. And they are steaming their biscuits. Never heard of it before. I said, I've never thought about it. It's a good idea. Seems relaxing. And, they were wishing for good omens. I screamed. But this is when Bear calls and he says, hey Mom, I'm just, checking in on you, see how things are going. The pizza's here or something like that. And then he hangs up and it is clear. I thought he was he had been arrested or he was at some office or something because everyone was so still. It was lit at Bear's house. They're having a party. But I'm going to tell you something. He's 17, he's 18. He's taking responsibility. Have some fun. Your mom, if you only knew that your mom was playing with crystal dildos. So have some fun, Bear. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean. So, it's club night. The girls are throwing back shots. They're taking edibles. Ooh, girl, that was a 25 milligram. I thought it was a 10 milligram. I mean, they're getting fucked up. Pardon my French. One of the girls yells, cast a wide net, hose. I mean, I was screaming, and I felt like I was having a wicked and wild weekend with some really fun people. Oh my goodness. And so, they're dancing the night away. Brandy sitting up in my room, the choreo from when they were kids, it comes back up. The whole time I'm thinking, this is really cool. They've really found their groove. The whole time they're just too high on these edibles, but living their best lives. There's a little misunderstanding, that leads to better connection in the midst of all of this crazy fun that we're having. And it was kind of poignant, Rita kind of belittles Teeny and says, you haven't really been through anything. You left, you bailed on us, basically, she says. So what do you know about this life? What do you know about the struggle? And Teeny basically gets up and walks away. Like, how would you know what I've been through? What do you know about the world, And I thought it was poignant because later in the bathroom when they just ask each other about their experiences, it solves or it answers all of those questions. When Rita says, I'd kill for to go to the hospital for 5 days as a vacation. I've been a nurturer. I stayed around. I've been a caregiver. I've been a giver of myself and my spirit all of these years, and I don't feel like I have more to give. And we all know how that feels, where you feel like the responsibility is on your shoulders and others around you have been more flighty and they've taken advantage of their dreams and you've never shaken the mantle of all that responsibility. And on the other hand, we learn about Tina. She says, I'm out here in the world, past the age of 25, I might as well be a dog. The way that these men are treating me, the way that, they say to honor women, to honor the matriarchs. And we all know what the reality is a lot of times out in society, that women are trampled on. Women over a certain age that don't fit a certain thing, are discarded. And to be out there and to be alone and to be depending on that connection to the world and to be depending on strangers to take you in and to accept you and to be constantly rejected and told, no, you're not the one, you're not good enough, is also soul crushing and defeating, And so they were able to see one another's humanity. And I'm so sorry to, make such a serious thing out of it, but it was really a poignant lesson when they saw each other. And it solved 15 years worth of animosity to just ask one another, what was your experience out there in the world? It would be so helpful between cultures, between groups, if we could just say, what does it feel like? And just be open and get the answer, as opposed to sitting and fantasizing what we think the other person's experience is and building animosity. Do you get the point of what I'm saying? Anyway, but due to a misunderstanding with Sam, he's like talking to some other chick at the bar when Rita walks past. Her and Teeny connect, and they have a night together, and they stay up watching movies and laughing and joking and, getting nauseous and being too high. And it's a beautiful thing, and they needed that reconnection and that time to just be sisters. It wasn't always, for those other girls, it was about the guys, but this weekend was about connecting with, something that was more important. So I had a ball. I mean, from beginning to end, the pace of this episode was just brilliant. It kept you, having a good time. Culturally, I learned a lot, about the conferences and the fun and a lot of the things that are included. I would love to sneak in. I may have to get a braid and sneak into one of these conferences one day and just, see what they're about. See the vendors, learn different things. It's nice to see, many different tribes and cultures and groups come together at the same time. I wasn't aware of that. So it's kind of, certain ones are more of an open, expo. So tell me, guys, in the comments, those of you that have ever been to a conference, what was your experience like? When was the last time you went to one? Is it a regular thing for you? Super interested to know. But this was a great episode, one of my favorites, of the season so far. I laughed the entire episode. Share your thoughts down below in the comments. Give this video a like if you will, and please consider subscribing if you've made it this far to Justin Talks Film for more movie and TV related content. Rings of Power is coming in just a couple of days, guys. Stick with me for that, but until next week's episode of Reservation Dogs, have a great week. Cheers.